Today I'm gonna teach you the nuances of leveling a warrior. There is a couple things you gotta consider because it actually goes back and forth every couple levels. There is something new you should build for if you're really optimizing it. So let's talk about it. There are two takes on how to level a warrior, okay? After level 30, arms is clearly the superior way of playing a warrior for leveling because of sweeping strikes, okay? Sweeping strikes, you get it at level 30. It is a double, it's like a free cleave and it is awesome. If you do cleave and sweeping strikes, you do quadruple hits. So after you hit level 30, you can actually quest by killing two mobs at the same time super efficiently. And there's another thing about that, and that is that cruelty here, Fury, 5% free crit. This talent until level 30 will be the best talent in the game. So a lot of people go Fury and then just respec to arms at level 30. Going Fury is not a terrible way to level, okay? You can go something like cruelty and then you go something like booming voice. This is important for being able to break people out of stealth. If you're playing on a PvP server, you kinda have to. Paddle shout here for more attack power. Then you go for enrage. You're gonna be getting hit a lot because you are tanking the mob when you're questing. You're solo, right? After that, we can go something like Death Wish. We can take execute here. You can even take blood craze. It's not a terrible thing to level with. Then you take flurry, of course, 30% attack speed, very good. And then you take bloodthirst, and now you just go down here for deep wounds, and that is kinda almost the standard Fury build for like level 60. You can level this way. Actually, what I would do, I would take 1 point in Piercing Howl. Piercing Howl is an AoE slow and it is amazing for like when you're in trouble. You can just do Piercing Howl and run away. You can use it in PvP. There's a lot of cool stuff. Otherwise, most people are just gonna hit level 30 and go back to arms, or some people are just gonna straight up go arms the whole time. I do not recommend going full arms the whole time, especially now if we are getting dual spec. It is only 1 gold. That's all it costs you at level 30 to go back to arms and stay on arms until you hit level 60, and then you just respec again. So it is not like a huge cost that you're incurring. The arms build would look something like improved rend, of course, so you can get deep wounds later. We're gonna take 2 points in heroic strike. We're gonna take improved charge. We're gonna be charging a lot in questing. We're gonna take some points in tactical mastery. Improved overpower, guaranteed crit, the best freaking ability in the game. Overpower is so busted for questing. Deep wounds, of course, every time you crit you get a huge dot. And then we're gonna take impale and 200 weapon specialization. It is just flat damage. How could you go wrong with that? We are gonna be leveling with a 200. That's gonna be the next thing we talk about. And here you go, level 30, sweeping strikes. Sweeping strikes is amazing. Sweeping strikes, your next 5 melee attacks is like a free cleave, and you can actually cleave a cleave. So you hit something with cleave on and sweeping strikes on, and it is like hitting something 4 times. You hit twice each mob. It is absolute insanity. And on top of that, once you hit level 31, you can actually start going for your weapon specialization. So if you got an axe, for example, or a sword, that is 5% crit. In the case of the sword, it is 5% wind fury. The mace is just a stun. It doesn't do anything. It does for PvP, but 5% wind fury or 5% crit is the same as cruelty basically, and you get it here. So as you can see, after you hit level 30, arms is better, and after you hit level 34, that's when arms is a lot better. After that, we're gonna be taking more damage here. We're gonna take improved hamstring. We're gonna talk about hamstring in a minute. That's for getting a better slow. Actually, it can immobilize the target. Very strong in PvP, of course. And down here, Mortal Strike. That's gonna be our bread and butter. It's a free auto attack like Whirlwind. Once you get Mortal Strike, of course, we're gonna be taking Cruelty. You can take Booming Voice for PvP. That's probably what I would do. Then you can take Battle Shout, of course. Obviously, Battle Shout. We're level 55 already. We're gonna take 1 point in Piercing Howl. Why not? It's really cool utility to have. And there you go. Yeah, you should hit level 60 doing this, okay? The important part is getting all these arms talents. That's the big one. So yes, in a nutshell, you can go Fury. It is not terrible, but after level 30, Fury is not the best one anymore. It is arms, and it is by quite a bit. Arms is way better. Now let's talk about a couple concepts, okay? How do you quest efficiently as a warrior? We can take a look here. You're gonna start with nothing but Battle Stance and Heroic Strike and Battle Shout. Of course, you gotta keep Battle Shout on you at all times. That's a no-brainer. But all you are gonna have is Heroic Strike, Rend, and charge until you're gonna be level 4. It sucks. Heroic Strike is just an ability that you put on top of your auto attack and you do a little more damage, and that's pretty much it. Rend is an ability that does damn near no damage. Level 1, there's nothing to do here, it's just Heroic Strike. Level 4 onwards, you're gonna be charging in the mob and you're gonna be doing Rend and you're gonna be doing Heroic Strike on top of that if you can. It doesn't really matter, you're basically an auto attack bot well into level 10, because at level 10 you get Sunder Armor. Now, Sunder Armor doesn't do any damage. Sunder Armor is just reducing armor. You might be thinking, why would I do an ability that doesn't do any damage? Well, Rend and Heroic Strike do almost no damage either. But if you reduce the armor of a mob and it stacks up to 5 times, so you can do it 5 times over, every auto attack you do is gonna do more damage and you're gonna get more rage from that auto attack, so you can do more damage, and so on and so forth. Another thing about Sunder Armor is that Sunder Armor can be blocked and parried and dodged and whatever. And that means that you can get a dodge from Sunder Armor, like if you were spamming Hamstring, and that can proc Overpower. Overpower is this ability over here. I am gonna drop a weak aura in the Discord on the Warrior channel that shows you when you get an Overpower proc, so you can use it. Overpower, you get it at level 12. Every time the enemy dodges an ability or an attack you do, you can do Overpower, which is basically another auto attack. And once you get the arms talents, it is a guaranteed crit. It is amazing. It is a huge ability. You're going to be playing with a big two-hander the whole time, so a big free auto attack with a two-hander, lots of damage. One thing you can do for more efficiency actually, and this is going to go to the next question, why do you play two-hander? First of all, there is no hit penalty. If you are dual wielding, there is a hit penalty to your offhand, and that's bad. Secondly, as I said, Overpower, it scales with your weapon damage. The bigger, the slower the weapon, the more it scales. Actually, there's a third reason, okay? And the third reason is that cleaving is more efficient, because cleave costs you the same amount of rage with or without a two-hander. So if you get a big weapon, every hit you get off of cleave, it is less rage per damage, so to speak. So cleaving is more efficient with a two-hander, not to mention sweeping strikes, of course. But also, and this is the secret, okay? Hamstring kiting. This is the best reason why you should go for a two-hander, the slowest two-hander possible. You can slow a mob and you can just move out of melee. I am gonna be dropping another weak aura in the Discord that is gonna tell you your swing timer, like it's gonna tell you when you are about to hit again with your auto attack. If you auto attack a mob and the mob is slower than you because you slow it with hamstring, right? You can move out of range from the mob while your auto attack is refreshing and go back. And because your weapon is slower than the mob, usually mobs are 2.5 speed, something like that, they hit pretty fast. Because you hit slower, if you only go into contact with the mob every time you want to because he's slower, you get the same amount of hits that he gets on you, but your hits are bigger because your weapon is bigger and slower. So if you go in and out every time you get an auto attack, you can effectively do the same amount of damage, but the mob is gonna do less damage to you. And that is the main reason that slow two-handers are the way to go for a warrior. Now at level 20 you get actually cleave, so after level 20 what you can do, if you are safe of course, you cannot do it every time, but you can just pull 2 mobs, bank rage, and just hit 2 mobs at the same time. And that's gonna be all your rage going to cleaving. Cleaving is the most efficient way to do it. Of course, you can overpower and stuff. At level 24, you can do execute on top of that. I do not recommend it. I do not execute almost ever when I level, because you drop all your rage and it is not very rage efficient if you do not have a lot of rage, and you are not gonna have a lot of rage. It isn't until level 30 freaking 4, what is it? Level 34, 36 actually. There it is, Whirlwind. This is the first real ability you get. You auto attack and do nothing until this ability at level 36, guys. And it is just an AoE ability. You hit 4 targets, it is an auto attack. So once again, another reason why you want a big weapon, because it scales off your weapon. So it isn't until level 36 that you get a real button to press. And after that you get like level 40 when you get your Mortal Strike, and that's another button to press, and that's pretty much it. So what you should do is just get Cleave and Sweeping Strikes. Where is Sweeping Strikes? It's at level 30 of course. What you wanna do is auto attack a mob and not do any ability. Get like 50 rage, and then you do Sweeping Strikes, and then you pull pull another mob, you're fighting 2 mobs now, and you cleave and sweeping strikes at the same time. That's quadruple damage. It is nasty. So you can just destroy 2 mobs really quick. And that's going to be your whole damn rotation. The tried and true method, the best way to kill a bunch of mobs in quick succession, it is just to cleave them. And that's pretty much it. Sweeping strikes and cleave them. Whirlwind is fine, of course. Whirlwind is great. Mortal Strike is not as great because it doesn't hit multiple targets, and you should not really be fighting a single mob. For the most part, if you're a warrior, that's inefficient. As a matter of fact, you should always try to be fighting a mob that's like 1 level below you, so you can take advantage of that. And that's pretty much the reasoning for the rotation. I'm gonna do a quick infographic here. From level 1 to 10, you pretty much just heroic strike. You can rend if you want to, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty much the same damage you get. From level 10 to 20, you're gonna be doing Sunder Armor. Sunder Armor gives you more rage because you reduce the armor and you hit harder. From level 20 onwards, you're gonna stack rage and you're gonna clip 2 mobs together. That's gonna be what you do. And of course, at level 30, sweeping strikes and cleave, and you can throw a whirlwind in it when you get it. It's fine, it's good. But that is by far the most efficient way of killing mobs. Of course, during the entire time, any overpower proc you get, you pop it, okay? Overpower is the best ability in the game. It is huge. Now, for the stats, it's actually quite simple. The best stat for leveling is actually agility. Why do I think that? It is not the most damage per second you can get, actually. It is crit, and it is armor, and it is dodge. But when you are leveling, you are tanking a mob. You are taking damage from them, so you get an extra chance of dodging, you get more armor, so you take less damage, and you get more crit, which means more damage and more rage, of course. So agility is a very efficient stat. Strength is attack power, and attack power is fine, but it is not as big as you think. 7 strength is gonna translate into 1 DPS. Strength is not that good until you get Bloodthirst. It is simply not that strong. And it doesn't make you any tankier, it doesn't give you any dodge, it's just damage. After that, we're not gonna put stamina, actually we're gonna put spirit. That's gonna be controversial, okay? Why would I take spirit over stamina? You should take some stamina if you can get it. You're gonna passively be getting a lot of stamina from blues in dungeons and stuff. Everything has some stamina. But if you can get some spirit, it actually increases your HP regeneration, and when you're questing, that's a big deal. Every time you bandage or every time you stop to eat, that's gonna be more time that you get HP faster. So it really adds up. After that, we're gonna put stamina, and after that, we're gonna put, this is a weird one, okay? Intellect actually is really helpful in vanilla because of weapon skill. Okay, if you can get like a mace to buff your intellect, never get intellect gear. I'm just saying, like, if you can get like a mace to give you intellect or something, intellect is gonna make it so you learn weapon skill faster. And the more weapon skill you get, the more you can hit, you know, the less chance of missing you have. So intellect is something you can get from a mace. If you see a mace, just ask him, can I get intellect, brother? And the guy's gonna be like, what a weirdo. Now for the weapons. The weapons are so important that they actually warrant an entire section of this video. I might even be bothered at some point to make a weapon progression guide on itself, but you want a slow two-hander, we went over that. If you are a human, you get extra weapon skill with maces or swords, and as we went through, that's important because that means more chance to hit, less chance to miss. If you are an orc, you get a weapon racial for axes, but for the most part, I would recommend that you go for neither well into level 20 something, level 25. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. And the reason for that is there is not a lot of great weapons. The best two-hander weapon early on and the most easy to find is the staff. Yes, you can use staves like a blunt stick. You can use it as a weapon like Donatello. It isn't until level 30 that you actually get a talent that requires you, doesn't require you, but you get crit, right? That you actually lose something for not having an axe or a sword. So I recommend that you just go for staves well into level 25 or so when you can actually get a little better something. And we're gonna talk about the weapons you should be going for. At level 10 you get a quest, that's your defensive stance quest, and you get a free weapon for every race. It is different for every race, but it is the same weapon. Essentially it is a different name and that's it. It is a really good weapon. It is a one-hander though, because up until level 10 or so you're gonna have a hard time finding a good two-hander. That's fine. At level 11 is when you are actually gonna be using staves. Of course you can get lucky and get a drop. You cannot rely on that, okay? You can buy this for 6 silver at any vendor of weapons. There is weapon vendors everywhere in almost every leveling zone and in every city, and that's gonna be the quarter staff. It's just a flat 10 DPS and it's the best you can get for a while, but the next staff that you can actually start looking for is gonna be from Wailing Caverns. You just gotta do the quest, which is basically kill all of Wailing Caverns. So you should do Wailing Caverns at least once because you get like a bag and a bunch of experience, and it's just like a lot of gear that you can get. Leather gear here is really good. But you can get this quest pretty much as soon as you can zone into Wailing Caverns, which is like level 18 or so. And if you do the quest, you can get this thing. This thing is insanity. It is slow and it is 20 freaking DPS. I don't care that it's a caster stuff. I know it has intellect and it has spirit on it. It doesn't matter, okay? Look at the DPS because that's what really matters. 20 DPS at level 18 is the best weapon you can theoretically get. So if you're Horde, congratulations, you're insane. So I heavily recommend you do Wailing Caverns for this weapon alone as soon as you can. I am gonna hit level like 19 and I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna do it. If you are Alliance, the equivalent stuff, you can get it a little later because Deadmines is a little harder, but you can do Deadmines and same thing, you get this 20 DPS staff. It is gonna take you a long time to replace it. Really good stuff. It is even slower actually, so it is slightly better. And the next item in the list that you should care about, the Corpse Maker. This is an amazing axe for the level and it is absolute insanity. It is really good. It is 28 DPS and it is 3.80 speed, which is freaking perfect. Remember, the slower the better. Now at level 30 you are gonna get a class quest and you just gotta go do like a little quest to get your Berserker stance, and as a follow-up of that quest there is an optional quest where you can go do like some errands for one guy. It takes you forever and in the end of that quest you can get an amazing weapon. Now on fresh I do not recommend you guys do the quest. You can do it for fun if you want, but it's gonna take you so long because basically you gotta kill a bunch of high level mobs, so you're gonna need help to do it and it's gonna be kind of expensive. You gotta buy some herbs and you gotta buy some materials from that only drop in mobs from Arati Highlands, and you're not gonna be able to kill them. They are very strong, they are like level 39 or something. But if you feel like doing it because you think it's fun, because you like the weapon, there is definitely an amazing reward, okay? 35 DPS at level 30. You go from 28 a level earlier, from level 29 to 35 at level 30. That is the Whirlwind Axe. This weapon will easily last you all the way to like level 40 if you can get it, but it is not efficient to go get it. It just takes forever. It's a long quest. You are better off just leveling without it and then you just get a better weapon later on. At level 37, and that's how long it's gonna last you, the Whirlwind Axe, and this is the reason I do never get it actually, is because in Scarlet Monastery Armory you can get the Ravager. Now the Ravager is a little faster and it is not as good, just by a little bit, but it has a proc that it turns your attacks into an AoE, and how freaking cool is that? It is basically free clips and it is also the best weapon for farming dungeons that you can get for a long time. So personally I just skip straight into the Ravager every time on a playthrough. I just go from Corpse Maker straight into Ravager. There is a lot more weapons you can go for afterwards, but I think that's a waste of time. By the time you hit a Ravager or a Whirlwind Axe, you're pretty much set, okay? You're gonna run into a better weapon eventually, but it doesn't really matter. That's gonna take you a while. Overall, the Warrior is one of the hardest and most annoying classes to level. They have no sustain, they don't have a lot of reliable escapes or CC or anything like that, and they are not that fast at killing mobs early on. As a matter of fact, I think leveling First Aid is pretty much mandatory. You should get First Aid as soon as you hit level 5 in any of the training towns and level it up because eating takes so long, okay? So First Aid is gonna make it faster. Also, you can just fear or hamstring or run away. You can bandage in combat and that's gonna give you like more safety. First Aid is super broken for warriors and you should really get it, but let me assure you, leveling a warrior is not a pleasant experience. Until you hit 60 and you pwn noobs, that's when it really everything pays off. That's just the way of the warrior, baby. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.